Welcome to Pbkc Picks, broadcasting live from the second floor poker room here at the Palm Beach Kennel Club in West Palm Beach, Florida. This is a show that me and Ernest were fretting all year long because Noah is in glory today. Noah is celebrating a Super Bowl win from the Philadelphia Eagles in dominating fashion. Go ahead, Noah. Just start us out.
No, go ahead. Go around the panel, and then we're gonna just have at it. We have special guests here. I don't want to steal a thunder.
He wants a slow roll.
I get a slow roll. Yes. Okay? We're gonna play this out as long as we can. So just go through the motions, and then we're gonna have fun here today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is the Pbkc Pick Show. This is a little bit different because football season is now officially over. We're going to talk about a lot about football and other sports, but one of the key things we're going to talk about is what's going on starting today, now through the 25th, and that is the Moneymaker Tour right here at Pbkc. Over $500,000 in guarantees.
Big one today.
30 trophy events, and we have the man behind the Moneymaker Tour right here with us today, Mr. Tony Burns. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here, and here we are, back again, year number 3.
Crazy.
It's hard to believe that we've been at this, going on year 3.
Yeah, I remember the concept. So Tony walks in my office. He's like, "Okay," he's like, "I quit my job. I got an idea." and he says, "We're gonna put together this tour, and this is gonna be the name of it." And it didn't take me more than 1 second to realize that what they were going to put together was going to be the next big thing, and it has. And Tony could give you more insight on how much they've grown and how many times. And we've had great success here at this property. I've been telling any room who would even consider it, they are making a mistake not hosting it. They run an amazing event. The fans love Chris. They love Tony. They love the environment. Oh, yeah. I mean, all the trophies, all the guarantees. I don't see us ever going back on anything. It is the absolute best value in poker right now, Tony.
And I love the diversity of the events too, especially. It's very different from anything else I've seen in 22 years I've been in this industry. So
adversity or
no, diversity.
Diversity
of the event.
Okay.
Of the event.
There's a lot of adversity too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the Moneymaker actually started here at Pbkc. How long ago was that now?
That was May of 23.
Wow. May of 2023. Wow. So we're almost to the 2-year anniversary of that. Now you're in poker rooms all over, not even the country. We're talking about the world now.
Yeah, we actually have an exciting announcement next week. About an international stop. I'm just gonna tease it right there. That's all you guys are getting right now.
We're just getting the tease.
But we were in Aruba
Come on, tell
in
us
October.
more about it.
Maybe off camera. Maybe
okay.
You guys bag enough. But no, excited to continue to grow this tour with Chris. I mean, once again, Chris's story is one of a kind. He's a true unicorn when it comes to poker. He's ready to take on that Doyle 2.0 role. With Bastian Doyle and Sexton, and now even another legend just yesterday with Miami John. So and condolences to the Cernudo family, but no, excited for today, kicking off with a $300 buy-in, $25,000 guarantee, 1-day mystery bounty, which last time we had 144 entries. Love to see that same number again. Hopefully it'll grow as the word continues to get out there.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to a lot of great tournaments, including the multi-flight, which starts tomorrow. One of our buddies, Gene Calden, I believe the multi-flight might start today, too.
It starts tonight at 5 p.m.
The reason I said tomorrow is because our buddy, 102-year-old Gene Calden, he's going to be playing either tomorrow or Friday in that multi-flight. He had issue, he needed to go to the doctor today or something like that. So obviously his priorities are with that insteed of coming to the poker room at 102.
Can we get the number of his doctor, please?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that. Seriously, something's working.
Yeah, so he's going to be here. What are the tournaments in this run of the Moneymaker Tour that we're really excited about?
So one of the things Ernest was talking about was the diversity of the events, and Chris is a big advocate for mixed games, and Noah as well. So Noah loves his mixed games. So I'm sure if he could hop in there, he could, or would, I should say. But yeah, it's having those different types of events. Having the ladies events, having seniors events, having something for everybody at every price point. All the way down from you can qualify for $86, which is the same number that Chris got into the 2003 World Series of Poker. All the way up to the $1,500 main, which will start next week. 4 starting days with a $300,000 guarantee.
Okay. Now we're really looking forward to the Moneymaker Tour,
yeah,
and for more information, just follow us all over social media or follow Moneymaker Tour. And also, if you want more information, go to their website, moneymakerpt.com, or go to our website at pbkennelclub.com. But we're going to have Tony here all throughout the show today. And if you need anything or any information on the Moneymaker Tour, come see us right here for the next couple of weeks, right in here in the Poker Room, now in town from the 12th through the 25th. $500,000 in guarantees, 30 trophy events, and some of the best poker players in all of South Florida and all of Florida and all the country
Everywhere.
making their way down to
Everywhere.
Palm Beach County.
International, actually. Yeah.
Everywhere.
All right, can we get to it now?
Okay.
Is this on purpose? Delaying on purpose?
Hey
Mike?
guys, that was a great show.
Yeah.
I
No,
think we can wrap
you
that
just
up.
hang tight. We got something to talk about here.
Clock.
Okay, now we're going to do a recap. So go ahead and hit the recap. There was a big football game on Sunday that one of us is really, really excited to talk about, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go ahead, Noah. Bask in your glory.
I wouldn't even know where to.
You know this.
Look at this.
Look
Look at this.
Wow.
Look
Oh
at
my
this.
God.
This is
There's
my
a
guy.
name on
gosh.
This is what it's about right here.
Man, I'm scared now.
If
It's
they're
just
playing
like
the
at the
Eagles
Eagles
flag,
game. The Eagle flies in at the stadium and it's glorious or whatever. But here we are. The game is over. The Philadelphia Eagles are world champs for a second time in 6 years, almost 7 years, 6 years. All the haters, all the naysayers, all the anti-Jalen Hurts guys, all the
Ernest.
people,
Not me. I'm
every
the
single,
Eagles guy.
all the Pat Rooney Juniors of the world who really, really felt that they didn't have a chance. They're not supposed to be there. Sirianni doesn't know what he's doing. All those things, those are all gone. The dreams and the hopes and wishes of a three-peat, that's all squashed too. The Swifties are in a full tirade. This wasn't, and I did say this, and I went back and looked at the film from a couple weeks ago to see exactly what I said, because I like to double check, make sure I'm not like some people who contradict themselves at a later time, like, oh, I didn't really say that, but they did.
Who does that?
So I look back, and the comments came up where Pat mentioned that he could see Kansas City in a blowout, and there was no scenario, and I was trying not to be a homer, but there was no scenario in my head where I could figure out a way that Philly would lose in a blowout situation. Kansas City didn't win, and I said this: Kansas City didn't win games by more than one score, maybe once. They didn't blow anybody out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Philadelphia was manhandling teams and handling them up and down the field. So was there a chance the Eagles could lose by one score? There was that chance, obviously. With Patty Mahomes there, those things could happen. Was there a scenario where they blow the doors off of Kansas City on that field and never let up? There was that scenario, and it did come true. From the get-go, Kansas City had no answers. They had garbage touchdowns at the very end of the game, but essentially, I talked about the chess game that is football at a certain point. You start with the roster. The Eagles had the dominant roster across the board. You couldn't argue with that. Quarterback, yes, you could make that argument then. I don't know how strong that argument is now, and I stand by that now because winners win. But then when you got into the chess pieces, I was concerned with Andy Reid, and I was concerned with Spags and his defensive looks and the different things he was going to bring and the blitzes that were going to come. Vic Fangio absolutely outcoached everybody who coached that day and put together a master class in defense that emulated, and reading into it, I found out that he emulated what Tampa did and Tom Brady did when they went in there and beat the heck out of Kansas City. He emulated it, and the way they did it was by not blitzing. The Eagles sent four-man pressure the whole entire game. They did not blitz. Somebody said they blitzed one time, but it didn't count as a stat because there was a penalty, so it counted. So on paper, it was not one blitz. It was all four-man pressure, dropping everybody back. That is the way to beat Patty Mahomes. That's the way they did it last time they lost in a Super Bowl. We did it again. In your head, you would think, okay, we got to send pressure. We got to get him uncomfortable. That's true. But when you get him uncomfortable and you send a linebacker or corner or a safety, Patty Mahomes picks up on that and he picks on that and he beats you with that. If you could get four-man pressure, which the Philadelphia Eagles did time and time again, that's the end of it. So a lot of people are going to do a lot of thinking. There's a lot of general managers sitting in their office right now looking at what happened in that game and saying, the meta is changing. A game always changes, and I'm a huge fan of game theory and how the game changes. And the game goes from all defense and running to ball to let's light it up with Kurt Warner and throw the ball all over the place and score. And now we're going to go for 2 all the time. We're always going to go when it's 4th down. All of a sudden, that started to be a thing. We're going to go for it on 4th down, and people start figuring these things out. Now you have to look at the meta that is your front 4 versus the front 5 of the offense is the absolute most important thing in the game, and that was exhibited yesterday. If you could win both sides of that ball, you win. I could talk forever. Somebody add in. My mouth's getting dry.
Well, that's the way they built a team. Sirianni said for years that they built from the inside out, and both sides of the ball, offensive line, defensive line, inside out, and that's been the Eagles' forte for pretty much his entire tenure in Philadelphia. Look, it is what it is. I thought Philadelphia would win in a runaway. I didn't see this coming. I had 37-27 Philadelphia before the game started. And I remember telling my wife, and you don't believe me when I said this, but I told my wife at middle of the first quarter, it was 7-0. Like, this game's over. Because there's 2 things I saw. Number 1, Eagles defense looked very disciplined. Number 2, body language. The Chiefs, you can look at the 2 sidelines. The Chiefs sideline looked like lost in the first quarter.
At one point.
And that was like, whoa, okay.
At one point you saw, and I was surprised at seeing this, you have an all-pro or all-world defensive tackle, Jones. Right. When Hopkins dropped that pass, he gets off the bench. He falls on the ground like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he dropped that.
And that matters.
And this is from an all-play. And that basically shows the whole team, the defense and everybody. We lost that drop. It's over. We lost the game. Your all-pros doing that, and that speaks volumes. Yep. So that thing was over at a certain point. And as an Eagle fan, no, it never felt like it was over. You always worry about. At halftime, okay, I'll give you a little example. First, I like to watch a game by myself. It didn't happen this time.
Somehow, so you didn't get a hotel room like I told you?
No, somehow a Super Bowl party developed at my house.
Oh, God.
Wait, it did. So first it was like, okay, we're going to, the kid and the grandbaby's going to come over. Okay, grandbaby, okay, we could do it a little quiet. I'll try to keep it down. Then it's like, another friend's coming over, and then we have another friend's coming over. And then somebody flew down from Connecticut or from up north. And they're like, we're on our way. We just landed in Orlando. We're driving down with our kid. And I love all these people to death. But I am a different person. So as the people were coming in, Yvette's explained to everybody, okay, just so you know, it gets a little weird with these things. And it is the Super Bowl, so it's going to be a little you're going to have to understand. So I'm watching the game. The game kicks off, and then here comes the little my lovely Atlas, my grandson. He toddles over in his Eagle outfit. He has Eagle stuff on, and he hops on my lap. So now I'm holding a baby.
Oh, God, no!
I'm holding the baby, and the kickoffs. No, I'm trying, and I'm holding the baby, and I'm not yelling. I'm not doing anything. And then I was like, okay, buddy, go see Dad, and he scoots along or whatever. But very few interruptions. Because the game played out the way it did.
It was easier to take.
I saved a lot of self-respect with everybody I know, with all my friends and family. I was able to retain some of that. But even at halftime, I'm outside, and everybody, like, there's a dance party inside for Kendrick Lamar. There's literally a dance party. All the girls they're dancing, everybody, and they're celebrating the halftime or whatever. And like, we got this game in the bag or whatever. And I'm thinking, this could be the ultimate worst meltdown, the 28-3. This could trump this thing and put me into retirement from all sports forever. That's the way I'm thinking as I'm standing outside by myself. Then we come back in, we stop them on offense, they're first, and then we score a field goal, and then I can start to settle in. So, man, what a ride. Wow. What an exciting event. And now I have Super Bowl hangover, and most of you haven't experienced this. But
yes, I got one.
Okay, you got
one.
Super Bowl hangover.
Okay,
but I have a Super Bowl hangover to the extent that we absolutely blew the doors off a team that nobody really gave us a chance to beat, that was trying to repeat or whatever. I don't know what we do next. Should I find value in looking for the repeat? You guys won. What happens next?
Oh, we're talking about the future, like going
no,
forward?
what do I look forward to next year?
Well, actually, you go back in 2 years and then you lose to the Saints, then Miami.
Right.
That was a tough. But I know what you're talking about. 2007 when Peyton beat the Bears, and that was one of the most. Thank you, Rex Grossman, by the way. But no, I know what you're saying. That you have that feeling of that high of winning the Super Bowl. Then what comes next, and then you get back there and you lose. Now, obviously, for you, 2 years ago you lost, and now you've won.
Right.
And how close was it? I mean, you come down to a penalty. basically that a potential penalty that could have went either way.
Right.
Could have been argued either way, right? But you guys lost by a kick, and I thought you guys, if you were going to lose, it was going to be by a kick. Kind of ironic, though. I sent you a text message at halftime that said "Hold the baby," and not knowing that you had a baby there. So.
Let's go ahead and tell you how my phone works on that Super Bowl Sunday. It's like
It's away.
I don't touch it. The only thing that's open on there is Twitter, so I could hear everybody's going nuts or whatever, or injury updates. Nobody's getting a text back. Do not congratulate me before the confetti falls. Not do that. You are not my friend.
I was tempted to, actually.
I was tempted to. Not my friend.
No,
then
we don't pre-sell.
I was tempted to, actually.
No.
To be honest with you. I was that confident in that game first quarter. This game is over, dude. Even one of our employees, Ryan's an Eagles fan too also. We were at the game, watching the game together, and he's like, calm down, dude. I'm like, dude, look at the body language. This is over, dude. This is over.
So when you talked about the nuts and bolts again, and I love that this show's about this.
Yes.
When you
all
talk about
about
the nuts and bolts
Excited.
about the game,
That's great.
if you looked at something the Eagles did, and this is something that they had success at, and this is where I think Jalen Hurts doesn't get the credit that he deserves. They were running what looked like a hurry-up offense, but it wasn't. What would happen is they would call the play at the line, and they would go right back into formation, call a play at the line. And there's still 28 seconds left on the play clock, right? Then he would call the play, he would assess it. Then the defense would make an adjustment based on his call. And then once they got set, he made another call to make another adjustment to take the last action. It's almost like poker.
Peyton Manning. Sorry, I'm going to be a homer.
Exactly, a homer.
Peyton was one of the greatest on the field.
To be able to make the last decision is so powerful. And Jalen Hurts did that during this game repeatedly, where he made audibles and changes and calls, and he's waving his hand, and they're throwing on fourth down and all these other things. That is so underestimated what they did. They counteracted all Spags' hidden stuff. The safety would run up and show the blitz. Now you're toast. Now it's not hidden anymore. Now they know you're coming. There's no call that's coming in from the sideline for him to change that back and get out of it into something else.
Was that normal for Jalen all year long, or just for this game specifically?
As time went on, when we had success and needed to, we did. When we had games in hand, we would just run the ball. But they did it full throttle the whole entire way this time, and it was a master class. And I get we lose Kellen, and he's going, and this is why. He's going to Saints because he was the one who implemented this and said, get the guys to the line. You see the exact opposite in Miami, and this makes me want to rip my hair out. They break the huddle. There's 9 seconds left. Tua gets to the line. There's no adjustments. Run whatever you got, and whoever's coming and whoever's blitzing, there's no blitz pickup, no adjustments or anything. So as you get into the chess match, the cerebral part of the game for the quarterback, as you would know, having Peyton Manning, you put Tom Brady in there, is beyond anything. It's the most important thing.
Yeah. And as long as Jalen stays healthy, I think that you're going to continue to go back to the big dance. But like as you also spoke earlier, you have the game changing. So people are going to eventually pick up to him, and now it's going to be on him to change gears, as in poker, to confuse your opponent. And if he continues to do that, you could have the next dynasty on your hand.
The Eagles. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I feel like they weren't going to let Saquon beat him that game. They were going to make Jalen beat him, and I feel like he put on an unbelievable performance. I also feel like it was a coaching masterpiece by the Eagles. It was an amazing game. We were watching the big game party in the paddock, and there was a lot more Eagles fans than Chiefs fans in there. Every time the Chiefs did something, you heard all the cheers, especially the Cooper DeJean interception. That was
where
just
they do the thing in his celebration.
absolutely amazing.
There was some funny jokes about that pick six that was on. You can't see on here, obviously, but
so wait, Coop is so popular now, and he's shooting through the ceiling. My kid goes, yeah, I did a Cooper edit.
Oh,
and
she's
like,
on Coop now?
She's on Coop now?
Wait. One day, it went 2.2 million views in one day for a Cooper DeJean edit. She's on him. I was like, okay, let's make a deal. Let's break up with Josh Allen, and we'll Cooper DeJean will be our new guy. Okay. She wasn't having it though, so now Cooper DeJean is like her backup boyfriend.
Okay, now we've talked about the Eagles. We've talked enough about them.
We'll let Noah decide. One thing I for the Eagles though, you look at the environment for the NFC, like. Who has a better chance of repeating or doing a dynasty next couple of years? The Eagles are in a perfect spot because all their best players are at the right age tier, 30 and under.
And
you know?
signed. That's another big thing, and they're signed.
Right, and the environment of the NFC right now, obviously you have the draft and free agency to come up, but I don't see any significant moves that's going to challenge the Eagles really in a big way. We'll get to the obviously the odds in a second, but the Eagles are in a spot now where KC was a little different because KC's roster kind of reset and they won 2 even despite that, but Eagles roster by far to me up and down the best roster in football. If they easily have the best chance to repeat and win a couple of these in the next 2-3 years right now. I mean, obviously the league changes and injuries happen, but looking at the roster's face value and looking at the environment of the NFC, at the very least, getting to the Super Bowl is easy for them right now. Getting there at least.
Yeah, I figure it too. Yeah, looking up and down, and that's the next thing as you talk about transitioning and trying to figure out what's next for the Eagles. I looked at the roster and I look at what do we have, what parts in place. The defense is almost fully in place. Zach Bond's a big question. Signing him again, he's going to demand Milton Williams, who had the strip sack. But overall, even if you exchange a couple of pieces, the important pieces are still there. And start with Mitchell and DeJean. You start there. Jalen Carter, Davis on the interior, and Sweat and those guys. I mean, it goes on and on and on. This was one of the greatest. It was the best defensive performance I've ever seen the Eagles put on, and it's not even close. Then you go to the offensive side of the ball. The whole offensive line's intact. They're all pros, all world, half of them. The quarterback's there. The 2 receivers are signed. The running back signed. I don't know what you would worry about. Jake Elliott, he redeemed his career. He'd have a kick. You don't even have to worry about him anymore. So I don't even know. So as they go into the draft, when you start getting in this position where you have all the bases covered and you're drafting so well, that starts to snowball because you don't need to reach for players or draft for necessity. You could take the best guys on the board
the edges,
and perpetuate this thing.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do.
And send the Giants a Christmas card.
Yeah.
That has turned out. My very good friends haven't even commented. I don't know. They won't. I don't know if they're not talking to me now. My Giants fan friends, or
they need to buck
the
up.
King of New Jersey might not be friends.
They
with
need
me
to buck
anymore.
up and understand that you be a fan of the team and understand your team is stupid. I'm a Giants fan. I named my firstborn after Eli Manning. Crying out loud. Doesn't matter. My team's stupid. They're dumb. Yeah. Get better. Do better.
This might go down as one of the. Like, if you look at it, how it played out, a division rival letting a guy go, and then the guy go light up and break all kinds of records and win the Super Bowl might go down as one of the worst. I don't know what one would be worse if we could.
This is the worst one. This is the worst one.
Maybe we'll go back to Babe Ruth.
By far the worst one.
Yeah, Babe Ruth from the Boston.
The worst part, again, is the guy they chose a year before that isn't even on the damn roster anymore.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay, let's stop talking about losing teams now. Let's move on. Now we're going to talk about the Chiefs.
Okay.
The dynasty, is the dynasty over? Where do they go from here? Is Kelsey going to retire? How do you feel, Tony?
You know what? I think that he probably comes back. I don't think you go out like this. I think, athletes, they want to ride into the sunset on their own terms. Just kind of like Peyton did. I think you hang it up the right way. So I see him coming back for one more. Obviously he's in an amazing relationship, or who he's with, and their relationship seems pretty organic, and they seem to be enjoying each other. So I'm sure they'll have a conversation. I mean, she's still doing her tour, but I see him coming back one more year.
So there was some glaring issues on the film when you look at it. I forget who I was speaking with today, but on some of the snaps of the ball, if you watch a replay, Travis is the last guy to even get out of his stance, and on a couple occasions, he wasn't even upright before the ball snaps. He's still the last guy in his stance getting beat for sacks. It starts to be a question, how much does he have left in the tank? Even during the season, we were talking how he doesn't have the same impact. I sat on the show and I said, if we get beat, it's going to be by Travis Kelce. No. He had nothing. He had nothing to offer.
2 drops on the first half.
He had nothing to offer. So I think Kansas City. So okay, you have let's call it a beatdown, a pretty good beatdown in the Super Bowl, right? And you have this roster that you're winning all these games close, and you were able to get away with it. But then you get in there and you get manhandled. Now you got to look at your roster up and down. Now you have the piece, the key piece is Mahomes, but do they have to rebuild around Mahomes in order to get back in there? Their defense might get by. Offensive line clearly had issues, and then when you get past the first receiver with Worthy, then there's other questions of where you're going to go to next. Where's the offense going to come from? So I think that this this goes a long way for the other teams in the AFC.
Yep.
What happened on the field for the Super Bowl is going to benefit Baltimore. It's going to benefit Buffalo the most. They saw that. They see what happens. They are no longer invincible. They are no longer the voodoo. Everybody used to talk the voodoo magic, and we can't stop this guy or whatever. That's gone. That's flushed. They now you could just go in there and beat the brakes off of them. So I think that's going to go a long, long way for competition in that division. If I had to go early, and I know they're picked, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but for favorites for the Super Bowl, they're up there. I have them nowhere near there.
They're
not up there?
They're next to you guys. No.
Yeah, but they're up there. Yeah, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I have them nowhere near there.
No. We have a sample of this also with the Patriots for part of the reason why I think the Patriots dynasty is so great is because they sustained a level of excellence for 19, 20 years. People forget there was a 10-year gap where they didn't win a championship between 2005 and 2013. Now granted, they were so competitive. They were in the Final Four. They would go to a Super Bowl, lose to us twice for the record, but they couldn't get over the hump. We might be entering that territory of the Chiefs now, in a sense. Now they'll still be one of the top teams in the league. They'll still be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC. But I just think that it's hard to sustain this. Kelsey and no Kelsey. And the teams in the AFC are just getting better. Forget the fact that you talk about Buffalo and you talk about Baltimore. Look at their own division. Denver's on the way up.
Yeah, they got
the San Diego. Yeah, I said it. San Diego Chargers on the way up. So you have teams.
What about the Raiders?
The Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals, if their owner's not a moron, can retool this offseason, and they'll be in the conversation. So the Chiefs' problem isn't even the Chiefs itself. They'll be in the conversation. It's the environment. That's why I kept saying the Eagles will have a better chance against the Super Bowl next year because the environment's weaker than the Chiefs' environment.
And
so
all you fans out there should be very happy because the Eagles are now the Giant Slayers. We've taken down both of them. We've taken down the New England Patriots, who were arguably one of the greatest franchises ever. We took them down, and now we were the ones to go into Kansas City and slay them. We're the only team who slayed both teams. So
This guy behind me right here.
Where?
Yesterday, I texted him Monday morning. I was just like, "You alive?" Because I don't know.
I was scared to text him in the morning.
Yeah,
We all
either
did that.
way, I don't know if he was like, so happy and whatever. But we were all happy for him until I saw him walk in the poker room yesterday morning with
my
his
Connor-
Eagles
my
shirt
Connor-
on
my Connor
and his
McGregor.
chest puffed out. I
Like-
did throw
yeah.
up on my
I'm
mouth
gonna
a
walk
little
like
bit.
this for the
I gotta
rest
be
of the
honest
year.
with you.
Oh, there it comes.
No, this is my new.
Thank you, Jake.
This is my new walk. I don't walk like I used to, just normal. Like I'm bowed up, and it's
Yeah.
it's
Listen,
a whole
man,
year of
I'm
being bowed up.
surprised. Can you do a graphic with no on the back of that eagle?
You have every right, Harry.
Just
please-
swooping in. I mean,
please
please,
take
can
him
somebody
away.
work on
Frustrating as it may be, he has a right to talk. He has a right to talk.
Yeah, it's
man.
gonna be a long year, boys.
It is. It is. Now let's move on. Let's talk about. Really want to talk about just one of the awards from the NFL awards,
Okay.
and that was the MVP. Josh Allen
Wow,
from
yeah.
the Buffalo Bills. Somebody that this show has been glazing all year. If you don't know what glazing means,
Yeah.
your kids would definitely know.
Yeah, he knows.
So we've been talking about that. Statistically, Lamar Jackson had a better year than Josh Allen, but how do you judge the MVP race? I mean, a lot of people are saying, Josh Allen didn't have the team around him that Lamar Jackson had. What do you think about that?
Well, I think when you look at what MVP stands for, it's the most valuable player. Who brings out the most of their team and what's around them? And I was getting ready to say, I think Josh Allen is like Peyton Manning was to Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I think he's 0-4 now against Mahomes. I think you're going to start to see that transformation now. Like Noah just said, the playbook is there. So I think the Buffalo Bills are going to learn from this. I totally agree. They have the most to learn from this. And I now see the Buffalo Bills now becoming the potential dominant of the AFC.
Yeah,
That's my bold. My bold. It's not so much of a bold prediction, but that's my prediction.
So about MVP, they got it right for the record. I
Oh,
even said that
100%.
too. I mean, look, numbers.
It's amazing. They never had it. Only one other time has the
What?
AP, right? The guy who won the AP, the Pro Bowl. What was it?
Offensive player.
No. I know what I'm talking about. It's like not the MVP, but the actual another publication.
AP player, all
Player
pro,
of the year,
all pro
all-
quarterback
yeah, right.
hasn't won. Yes, only second time.
So like I said all year, like on the podcast, the reason they got it right here is the same thing. Josh Allen won it the same way Lamar won it the year before that. Lamar didn't have the best stats quarterback-wise the year before that when he won MVP, but he did more or less that year. 14-3 record, number 1 seed. Baltimore goes to the AFC title game. Same situation here with Josh Allen. He did more or less. He lost Gabe Davis, lost Stephon Diggs. People thought, including myself, thought this would be a kind of a sneaky rebuilding year for the Buffalo Bills. All they do is number 2 seed, win 14 games, get the AFC title game, and was probably a drive from winning it. So they got it right here in terms of those optics. Like Lamar had more help this year. He actually won less games with the help.
Right.
They got it right here. Like stats. Like could we say that Lamar had a better year individually as a player? Okay, fine, I'll give you that. But again, MVP is not
the rule.
Thank you. That's exactly what it is. MVP is about value around your team.
Right.
So Josh deserved it.
Josh Allen didn't get a Derrick Henry.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Josh got James Cook.
Right. So, and it's funny when you start talking about that and you talk about individual achievements and team achievements. The Eagles had no chance ever of having an MVP on that team. The roster was too good. You need that funny balance of not quite good enough and not a guy who's Derrick Henry next year or Saquon Barkley who can carry some of the load and win some of those games. It had to be you had to win every game by yourself every time. And what happened with Lamar, Derrick Henry went off for some big games and carried the game and won the game. So you're like, okay, there's another path to winning with Derrick Henry and Lamar. With Josh Allen, you tell me a path that they had to winning games. I don't know what it would be. If there's no other path without Josh Allen.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't Henry get votes also as well too? So the same situation too. He took away votes from Lamar anyway. So there you go.
Yeah,
Right.
It's very reminiscent of when, and sorry for the Peyton Manning homer.
No, it's okay.
When you think of Peyton Manning, who he used to throw to, who was too big,
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison.
and
Reggie Wayne.
Right.
Okay, he lost Diggs. I'm talking about Allen now. He lost Diggs,
Yeah.
and he loses Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me who else? Like Peyton Manning used to throw to Austin Collie. Who's heard of Austin Collie?
Pierre Garçon.
Pierre Garçon. He made those players better, and that's what Josh Allen's done with Coleman and Shakir and his
The tight ends.
The tight
It's
ends.
like, it's wild.
That's
So
what I
yeah,
said.
I thought it was good. I fell asleep before the announcement. I woke up and I was elated, and I ran right to my kid's room, and she was like, "I can't believe it. This is the greatest thing ever," and he deserved it. And so yeah, we're just crushing football in the Carbone household.
Well, except your wife, who's the Dolphins fan. She's not happy right now.
Yeah.
But
Well, she get it by proxy.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. She
Okay,
could be
now let's
happy
move
for
on
us.
to talk about the 2025 Football Hall of Fame class. That includes Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. And one
Amen to
big
Sterling.
name that has been left off that list is Eli Manning. Eli Manning, I believe, should go into the Hall of Fame. This is the guy that beat Tom Brady, twice?
Yes.
So I believe Eli Manning deserves to go to the Hall of Fame. How do you feel, Tony?
Like I said before the show, I'm going to be a homer because it's a Manning. I think he deserves to be in there, beating Brady twice. His stats. I believe he should be in there, but the argument's being made that he shouldn't. So.
No, you're talking to a guy right now that named his firstborn after him. Okay, as a Giant fan, he is not for that Hall of Fame. I've been saying it for 6 years. First ballot, he's a Hall of Famer. He'll get in at some point, whether it's next year or 2 years on the road. It's special. Eli Manning was good in moments. He had 2 good runs, especially a couple decent tinkering years here and there. He was never special, though. So first battles for guys like Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes eventually, Peyton Manning. He wasn't special. So they got it right here. I wasn't mad about that. Did I want him to get in the first ballot? Absolutely. As a Giant homer and an Eli Manning homer especially too. Yeah, get in. But he doesn't deserve to be first ballot. No, he wasn't special enough.
Well said.
So your kid's name Eli?
After
Firstborn,
Eli Apple,
firstborn.
right?
Right. So
No, hell no.
Right. So good news is that thanks to my guy who did my vasectomy, I'm no longer allowed to have children. I'm no longer. So I have
This
no
is
chance
great.
of having little Saquons running around, or I could kind of see that happening.
I can never see you
Saquon. No, it would be Saquon or Cooper, maybe, but probably Saquon. But my child would be named Saquon. That would be awesome. Okay, let's talk to Eli.
Yeah.
He. I think it's exactly on the point that he's a 500 quarterback, right?
Yeah,
he won.
correct.
He won
121.
He won exactly as many games as he lost. Okay, that doesn't sit well with me. I think there's a problem there. You want a winner who's in a pro or an average quarterback. Okay, and he did win the Super Bowls. So what you're telling me is now if Hurts gets another one and he
So
does
automatically
nothing else.
But Hurts actually has numbers to also justify it too.
I know, but he
relevant.
has that. So Hurts wins another one. Is he just in?
Possibly. Well, here's the thing with Eli too, also, because remember, it's an individual award. When he retired, he was top 10 in all the major categories in yardage, touchdowns, you name it, all that stuff. So that helps his case too. Then when you throw in the Super Bowls, obviously it does both.
Wasn't his touchdown to interception ratio pretty horrendous
That's
too?
pretty bad. And he had also the start streak too, also behind Brett Favre also at one
So-
point. So you have those things that again, I'm not arguing about whether or not he's not a first ballot Hall of
not
Famer.
first ballot.
I've been saying it for like 7-8 years now.
What-
It's just that people are getting mad about it. Which I don't understand why they get mad about it. Just stop.
What's more-
please.
what's
there,
more-
there are guys who are better than he was in that organization. Michael Strahan was that first ballot.
Right.
He had a better career than Eli Manning.
When you start looking at this, it's and they create these these awards, and you
Yeah.
have the MVP. So, but really, MVP, Hall of Fame, and other things. But which is more important, winning this Super Bowl? I mean, isn't that the ultimate of what you're trying to do?
He's done it
Now,
twice.
when you start getting into the Hall of Fame stuff, then you get into individual awards and some other stuff. And then, are you going to forget that Jeff Saturday, he made it, but there's a supporting cast that got
course.
the people there.
Yeah.
So Eli, there's probably arguably some guys that were playing alongside of Eli.
That's always been the argument for years about that. And
Yeah.
as someone who knows both these rosters really well, I'll give you the first year, not the second year. That second year, they were last in rushing offense. The defense was terrible that same year too. Also, like that 2011 Giants team that went 9-7, that beat the Patriots the second time.
Right.
He carried that team that year. That was his team that year.
So I know one of us could speak personally on missing out on Hall of Fame on multiple occasions. And so you were up for awards multiple times and you got shunned.
Why do you gotta have to cut me?
I
this
don't
early?
know,
You-
but I know.
Did you wake
There
up
one
this morning-
time the poker, the GPI for a person? So I see you up there,
No,
and
Noah woke up and chose violence today. You really did.
He's on a roll.
Hey,
He's on a roll today. He's on a roll.
right?
yeah, anybody in Noah's path right now, it doesn't matter.
But
You don't get a
this
pass.
is my opinion. It doesn't slight you. If you're confident enough in yourself, and it's nice to get that. But
Yeah.
if you're my personal worth comes from inside and the job that you do. If you don't get the trophy, Super Bowl trophy, that's a team thing. I get it. But if you don't get if you don't get into the Hall of Fame, you still know that you feel like you contributed and gave everything you possibly could to the game, and that's really what matters.
No,
So
you're,
you don't think he should be in it at all? At all?
What?
You think he should be in that at all? Eli Manning should be in the Hall of Fame at all?
I don't think he should be there.
Interesting take.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, now I want to move on and talk about next year's class. There's a couple of first ballot guys on this 2026 class, including Marquise Pouncey, Drew Brees, Geno Atkins, Larry Fitzgerald, LaShawn McCoy, Steven Gostkowski, the old kicker for the Patriots, Jason Witten, and Frank Gore. So there's some definitely possibilities of first ballot Hall of Famers there.
I hear two.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees
Drew
number one,
Brees.
and then you said somebody else there.
Pouncey?
No, Pouncey's possible, but
Larry Fitzgerald.
that's that one. Fitzy.
Fitz, yeah.
Wait, here's one. You got this stat? Larry Fitzgerald in the NFL during his career had more tackles than dropped balls.
wow.
that's insane.
Think about that for a second. So an interception or whatever, he would make the tackle. More tackles than drop balls. There is no
That's
scenario
insane.
where he's not a first ballot. There's no scenario.
He's a top receiver all time. So on
Pouncey,
top of that.
I don't know. I'm a homer. I don't think McCoy gets in right away.
No,
I
no,
don't.
no,
I don't see it. I can't see it.
Frank Gore, though, yeah, I feel like he'll
For
eventually get in as
longevity,
well.
He
so
may
does
get in,
longevity count? Yes,
But
I
I can see him missing the first ballot just because of the loaded class. And no, by the way, the four guys that got in this year, thank God Stone Sharp got in for the record. I'm so happy how Stone Sharp got in because Stone Sharp, when he retired due to the broken neck, was actually the second best receiver in football behind Jerry Rice, and people forget that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it was awesome with his brother coming in.
Oh, my
and
God,
surprising
amazing.
With
I
that.
teared
If you haven't
up.
Seen that video? That's awesome.
I teared up.
Yeah,
But,
that's weird getting in the Hall of Fame when you're not even like the best player in your family.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Technically, Sterling. Well, I mean, height of power, Sterling might have been better than Shannon, but it's just
Could have
that
been.
shit. The career got cut short.
Yeah. Tony, is there anybody, there's one name that always comes to mind with me, any sport we're talking about that should be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose always comes to mind.
Yeah,
This is his
100%.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Get him on the baseball.
Yeah,
This is him.
we could have a whole show talking about this alone and how I feel about that. Pete Rose absolutely should be in. There's no doubt about it. And I talk about the steroid era, the PEDs. You know, your Mark McGuire's, your Sammy Sosa's, your Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Kurt Schilling. All those guys deserve to be in for what they did for the game. You know, we can get it down the rabbit hole of what blind eyes were turned and things like that. You know, obviously the Mitchell report comes out later. I guess this is a big rabbit hole for me. But those guys deserve to be in, even if you want to have their own wing of Cooperstown, at Cooperstown, and just put it, if you want to put an asterisk or whatever you want to do, at least recognize what they did.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to shame them, like this is the bad wing of baseball, then so be it, whatever. But at least recognize what they did, because McGuire, I'm sorry, McGuire and Sosa
for sure.
saved baseball in '98.
Or put
Period.
him in there and let it find its own level. Put him in there, and people know what happened. And but
true baseball fans that are going to go to Cooperstown and make that mecca,
right?
No. And
or if you don't agree with it, or if you think that it shouldn't be there, you're welcome to disagree. But they did perform on the field, and whether you felt like it was within the guidelines or within the rules or not, that's a whole different story.
Especially someone like me, who's a massive Barry Bonds homer.
Yeah.
I mean,
forget
the San Fran years, and his 4 years are good enough to get into the Hall of Fame. So.
And forget the things that have nothing to do with the actual performance on the field with Pete Rose and him not getting in. Yeah. That's the most insane thing ever.
I agree.
Pete was a long-time customer. He was a paddock guy. He was here all the time. He's the nicest guy in the world. Yeah, he liked to splash around a little betting. Look at it now. We're all doing it.
He helped all of us.
Head
That's
first
like
now.
the Hard Rock app.
That's right. Head first
exactly.
now.
So that's all we talk about in sports now is sports betting. It's a part of every show. The fact that Pete was doing that years ago.
He's a pioneer.
Well, the problem is that he didn't come clean at the beginning.
Right.
Yeah. If he comes clean in the beginning, I believe he gets in. I thought Manfred had a real opportunity when his splash, when he took office, Pete applied for reinstatement, and I was like, you know what? Hopefully Manfred takes this opportunity to put his name and his legacy, lets Pete back in, gets him in the Hall. Obviously, it doesn't happen, and I'm hopeful that the next commissioner of baseball. Pete always said, from what I understand, that Pete doesn't want in now that he's gone. He didn't want in post-mortem. I hope that he still gets in, though, for his family.
Adrian Peterson, where are we at with him?
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Is he in or
first
no?
ballot Hall of Famer. He's not in. That's done yet.
Okay.
But he's first ballot.
So,
absolutely.
Here we are. He's on the ballot.
But what he did.
He had things come up, talking about switches and kids and all these things. No, they did.
Yeah,
so now, what are we going to do? Are we going to hold that against him, or are we going to look at his performance? So you can't do it both ways. Performance on the field is a no-brainer.
Ray Rice.
Yeah. Ray Rice, yeah. Well,
he's not one anyway.
He's not good enough, but there are people who conducted themselves, I don't know, Big Ben wasn't known to be the nicest guy in the whole entire world.
No.
I mean, and I'm speaking at Pittsburgh hate right here.
He's
on
fringe
this panel,
as is. He's fringe as is.
And on the field, his performance, yes. But when he's on the golf course and whatever is happening out there in the closet.
Allegations.
Lawrence Taylor.
I'm sorry.
But
yeah.
What are we going to go back and we're going to pull?
Obviously, the girls football table.
Yeah, LT like a little booger sugar, so he gets shut out of it. Like
LT might be the top 3 football player of all time. So
I'm a big LT fan.
Yeah, there you go.
But once again, what's the balance of?
I'm with you on Pete Rose, though.
We can talk for hours.
We
on
can
that
talk
one.
about
absolutely.
Pete forever. I miss when I'd come down from the announcer booth and Pete would be sitting there in the cafe and he'd say, "Hey Pete, how you doing?" And he was just the nicest guy. Rest in peace, to Pete Rose. You still deserve to be in the Hall of
Ballpark
Fame.
Cafe. Fond memories of going there as a young kid there off Glades and going to his arcade and seeing him do his talk and getting his autograph. It might have cost $5.
He was definitely getting that $5.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now let's move on to another first ballot Hall of Famer. Where's Aaron going? Where's Aaron Rodgers going?
Oh, yeah. So I thought about this, actually, and I said that as things disintegrated through the year for him and the Jets this season, that it was kind of obvious that there was 2 options here for A-Rod. Either he returns to the Jets because he has no choice because of the contract, or he retires. Well, obviously, option 1 is out now, no longer in play because Aaron Glenn said, "Now you're good." Honestly, and I'm just going to piss some people off, like, if I see a fit, the only fit I see, and it depends on the team even wants.
Same stadium, just stay in the same stadium.
No.
Tell me that.
No. It's the Steelers, honestly.
It's
the Steelers, honestly.
Wow.
Now, having said all that,
where's Pat?
number one, I wish he was here today. Having said all that, I don't think they'll go that route. And in fact, the odds are in my opinion.
Pat's on the phone.
I think Rodgers has hurt his credibility so much as a player now that because it's one thing 5 years ago when he was top guy in the league, top 2 guys in the league, that it was worth the hassle. Now he's not worth the hassle anymore. And at 41 years old, he's an aging product now.
Here's my bold prediction.
He
goes to Indianapolis. And Irsay has a habit of bringing on.
That's interesting.
He's brought on Flacco. He brought on, why is his name? Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's brought on these older guys that are on the tail end of their career. Anthony Richardson's in a weird spot, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to have to prove himself very quickly. And maybe there's an opportunity where Rodgers comes in and he mentors him. I don't know if that chemistry can be there, but that's my flyer.
I like that,
I
though.
thought
Yeah,
there was a chance of maybe goes to Indianapolis.
I got him down in Costa Rica with a shaman doing
Yeah,
ayahuasca, 100%.
Yeah.
He's going to be playing for the Saturn Martians or whatever in his brain. He's going to be like, this is great, and slinging comets and stuff in his brain.
At this point, I think 7% chance
That
he
guy's-
retires. Actually, to be honest, 7% chance he retires.
Okay, now it's the odds now for next year's Super Bowl are out.
Oh, they're out.
Let's go.
If I go to my Hard Rock Bet app, those odds are out now.
Wait, so you
we're
can
the
bet-
Giants.
So you can bet before the Super Bowl starts. And I don't know what you guys did, any of you guys did before the Super Bowl starts, but I happen to have a future from this season, and
Yeah, we're going to
Before the year started, you mean?
So look
We've
at
shown
this.
before on the show.
My gigantic wager
buying
of
dinner.
$20 hard cash for $370. So,
It was a smart move, though.
well, look at the line. So I was plus 1750. I saw the writing on the wall. The Eagles are the best team ever. Let me make some money. I fired off a quick 20, pulled it out of my wallet, fired that right in there. I don't consider myself risk adverse, but I wish it was 200. And then maybe I would have went to the Super Bowl or something like that. But this is what you can do. But get it in now, especially before the draft and before the free agency, because parts start moving around and the lines change. So if your team stinks, get it in now. If it's good, get it in later.
Yeah,
No,
go ahead. I'm just going to run
Give
down
us the
some
odds.
of
Here
the
we go.
odds. Yeah, there we go.
Who's first?
Yeah, so go ahead, Michael.
Go ahead. Plus 600 for both the Chiefs and the Eagles, which the Chiefs we already know that's not worthy. Ravens at plus 650. So are the Bills. Lions at plus 850, and the Commanders starting off at plus 1600. Go ahead, Ernest.
So the stand-up for me, really more than anything else, like obviously the top 4 teams, not a problem. I that's where it should be. You can tinker with the order of the 2, 3, and 4, maybe a little bit, whatever. Detroit moving down a little bit to, was it 850?
850.
Yeah. That's mainly because of the coordinators that lost. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson going to Chicago and the Jets, respectively. So there's a question now. We talk about environment for the Eagles. Why I believe the Eagles will get back here next year. The next best team in the conference right now on paper is the Lions, but they've now lost pieces, important pieces. Same way you guys lost pieces like after the first Super Bowl run a couple years ago, and it took a little while to catch up. Can the Lions get back to that?
2 years, a long while.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
long to wait.
it felt
for
long
that
though.
Super Bowl,
Yeah, I know. Baker Mayfield, I know. But Detroit, can they get back to it? I don't know. Commanders on the come up, obviously.
Commanders feel like a value there.
This is value for the Commanders now. They have cap room. You said last week on the podcast, I think they have $120 million in cap room to spend.
They have the most.
Approximately.
They have the most.
So they have a
They're
chance.
going to get Myles Garrett. And
Right.
some other
When you
pieces,
nail the
but-
quarterback, what happens? You can tinker around the edges now. So you look at that. The Niners are high, but they also a team that's okay. Deebo Samuel's on the trade block now. He got permission to look for a team. So you have a lot of things there. So to me, the thing that stands for more than anything else is Detroit moving down slightly. The rest of it's pretty much where it should be. I honestly don't see this really changing much. Honestly, even after free agency and the draft. Maybe, and my prediction I have is that Tyreek Hill may go to some of these teams here. I'm looking at the Packers and Chargers. If Tyreek Hill goes to any of those teams and they have assets still to keep, they may move up a little bit. Other than that, that's about it.
I think you got to look at some things like when teams start to make that push and they make the final push. And Detroit almost set they set the agenda saying that this is our year, this is when we're going to do it, and then they come up short. And they come up short in a pretty convincing fashion after securing home field throughout and coming up short. That's tough. That's tough where you're bouncing back and be like, we did everything we possibly could. We ran into injury bug. Okay, maybe we won't have that. You could argue that.
It's excessive, though. That's excessive, though.
No,
18 starters?
No, I understand that. So, but you set the plate, and now you're in a hangover from that. That's a little tough. But you got to look at the up and coming teams are the highest value. The teams that are getting closer. The Baltimores and the Buffalo Bills, obviously. Washington looks like a good play. You have sophomore slump stuff, some other things, and then Washington changed their whole attitude. So I follow Twitter, and as the Eagles went on and advanced through the playoffs, the Washington fans were like, we could have beat them, we could win the whole Super Bowl, whatever. Then we went in and did what we did to Kansas City, and they're like, we better get some help in order to do these things. So that's what you have to look at. Hell, if I had to pick, I'm going down the line. Who has the best offensive line? Who has the best defensive line? And making those picks based on what I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the NFL picks for next season. Now we're going to move on to a different part of the show that we've actually never done because we always talk about football, and that is our sports betting quick picks for the week. As we do each and every week, we usually go through the NFL games, and now we're going to give you a couple of our sports betting plays. I don't know if Tony has any or not. I actually have two for you.
A little future?
Yeah.
Bet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ernest. You could start with us.
Does that have to be football or no?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I'm not doing futures then. I love the futures.
What do you like?
I mean, plus 600 for the Eagles is nice. It is nice. Honestly, I probably go that one. Honestly, I feel good about that one. That their roster's intact for the next 2 years, and the environment, like I said, Eagles the easiest one for me.
So I'm a value guy, and I like to. The Eagles, when I bet them for 20 to win 370, was a good value. I don't like betting 20 right now. The Eagles, if I bet 20, I win 120. So I always try to find that little hidden the value where I feel there's value. That you can bet to know you have a sure bet. You could bet like, okay, this is a winner, I'm going to bet this and not get a great return in money, or you can find those things that are value and I like. And for poker term, I like pot odds. Let me get in on a big pot or whatever, and let me win that one. You can win all the little ones.
EV, baby.
Exactly. So I'm liking my pick would be the Chargers. They were plus 1,700 or 2,200 or something. I think that's worth a flyer.
Or maybe them to win the AFC. I don't know what those odds would be.
That would be,
especially if I predicted if Tyreek Cook gets traded. I'm thinking if he gets traded, it's going to be either to the Packers or to the
right. But that's why you have to get it in now.
Right.
So don't waste your time. Get those bets in now.
Right.
So I saw this morning that some of the baseball wins. Totals came out.
Listen to this guy who knows baseball.
Yeah, so 64 wins for the Marlins. You know, just like you, I don't like to bet with my heart. You know, Marlins, working for the Marlins from 97 to 2002. All my years in baseball, I try to stay away from betting in general, but also against the Marlins or for the Marlins. But at 64, this team has not spent $1 in the offseason. If this team somehow doesn't lose 100 games, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
I think they lose over 100 games. So my play of probably the lock of the year would be
write it down.
Marlins under 64 wins.
I'm on it now.
They get Sandy back this year, right?
So you can pull out your app now.
They get Sandy back this year, right?
I'm on that one.
Yeah, I have two plays for you. I delved into the Hard Rock Bet app, which we are marketing partners with Hard Rock Bet. Go to pbkennelclub.com/Hard Rock Bet for more information. My buddy Sully, he's a part of the producing on the show here. He's a big golf fan. I took a look at the Genesis Invitational this weekend. Scotty Scheffler right now starting off at plus 400. Bet 20 to win 100 on, if not arguably the best golfer in the world right now. And then tonight's play, Lakers are at Jazz. Same game parlay. We're going to get a 30% profit boost. I like the Lakers to win. I like the Lakers under 123.5. And I like Austin Reeves under 19.5 points.
Wow, you're cooking up
with
stuff.
the addition of Luka, with having LeBron on the team.
Look good.
I really think Austin Reeves is not going to have to score that many points tonight. So that is my bet for the night. You bet 20 to win 104.50. Go ahead, Ernest. Tell us about Luka.
Can I throw a little bonus real quick on the
go
value?
for it, buddy.
The Grizzlies plus 3,000 to win the title this year.
Oh wow.
They are the sneaky team under. Like I still got them as outside the bubble winning the title, but we talking about value, right?
Yeah.
That's they are healthy right now. They are playing good basketball. They just beat Phoenix last night on the road. Looking for a team that can make things weird in the Western Conference, possibly going forward. Memphis Grizzlies.
Can I tell you what else is fun? Even if your team stinks, throw a tenner on it to win the whole thing. Like you might get lucky.
I went to the Giants though.
But it's something for long term. We're like, hey, check this out. Like I bet 20 to win 370. Okay, 370 is not going to change my life. I'm a 100-air now. But it was fun to watch it unfold. It's like, hey, I might be a winner at something. I'm a winner. I'm a winner.
Everybody's going to be on the Dodgers this year, though, with all the moves that the Dodgers have made.
Yeah.
You know what? I think with the Yankees being that close, and obviously the Aaron Judge dropping that ball in center field and how that all unraveled, I would ride the Yankees this year. I mean, I know it's easy to be a homer for them, but I think the Yankees come back with a vengeance. And not my squad. Like I said, I still cheer for my Marlins. I love the Cubs. As well, the lovable losers.
I thought the Yankees did pretty well, actually, despite losing Soto to us, actually, to the Mets. they tinker around the edges pretty well with some good transactions. I think he'll be in the mix again.
Now, Steve Cohen, I mean, he's doing some amazing things. I mean, he spends, right?
It's too much money, though, man.
Oh,
for that
I
guy.
know.
I'm sorry.
It's too much.
I agree with you 100%.
Well, those were your sports betting quick picks that weren't quick this week.
No.
Make it quick, Noah.
We did not make it quick on the show this week.
It doesn't say quick there. It just says betting picks.
Yeah,
so it's hard
betting
to fence.
picks. Yeah, we were not quick, but now let's talk about all the fun things going on here real quickly. February poker, we still got a couple more days of that. Still got at least half a month for that. It's now going on through the end of the month. Feel the love with February high hands. $10,000 cash drawing will be on March the 1st. Let's talk about the Moneymaker Tour. That's why Tony's here at Pbkc.
Yeah, you got to get to work, Tony.
Now
I'm here because they had the Chiefs and against Noah. No, it's a pleasure to be here. This is the first one I've watched you guys on my travels and see what you guys are building here, and I'm happy to be a part of it. We're going to spread the word, and hopefully more people will tune in. Obviously, come out for the Moneymaker Tour. We'll be here through the 25th, and I look forward to seeing all the familiar faces and new faces down here in South Florida.
Yeah, come on out. Go to Moneymaker PT or pbkennelclub.com for more information. Now we got to talk about another show that's coming up in the paddock, and that is Splish Splash, which is coming up on March 14th. Bobby Darin, I'm a huge fan of Bobby Darin.
Yeah.
I love his music.
Saturday night.
So many songs that you didn't realize, like, oh yeah, that is Bobby
Give me
Darin.
another one.
You know,
Rockin'
Mac the
the Tub.
Knife
Mac the Knife?
and all these other greats. Bobby Darin has such a great songbook. He'll be here with Splish Splash on March 14th. Not actually Bobby Darin, but Ron
The music,
Gartnell will be
that'd be weird.
doing it. He's a Vegas showman, does a
real
great
weird.
job.
I may go with that,
Yeah,
actually.
that would be really weird. I don't know about that. But Splish Splash, buy your tickets now. March 14th. Tickets on sale now. And now as we close the show, I'd like to thank Tony for stopping by.
Yeah, man.
He's
Thanks,
going to be
guys.
in
Appreciate
town
it.
through the 25th. Maybe he can check in with us next week on the show too. But we're looking forward to the Moneymaker Tour. And what's your last final thought, Tony?
No, anytime there's an open spot to hop on with you guys, I'd love to join you. I love talking sports.
He's a gem for baseball. Like
Yes.
I would like to.
I'm ready for
my-
spring
Can we,
training.
can we pass him through for the spot?
He could have all my share of baseball.
Pitchers and catchers right around the corner.
next week, I think. Right, next week, right?
But I have been watching more hockey. I can't lie. I love watching the Panthers.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Panthers will make that third Stanley Cup in a row.
Go ahead, Ernest.
Yeah, it's been a great year for so far. I mean, we're getting to like uncharted territories with this show now. I'm looking forward to talking more. Obviously more baseball, obviously more basketball is my wheelhouse, and even hockey too, especially as a Rangers fan. Even though they're having a kind of a weird year right now, but it's been a great year, and congrats to the Eagles. Even though I did not want to see that happening, obviously as a Giant fan, but I'm happy. I'm really happy for Jalen Hurts more than anything else.
Respect.
I've been
respect.
Right, I've been a Jalen Hurts guy since he was at Alabama. That guy's a great kid. And I was rooting for that kid from day one. So to see him get his ring and win MVP
He's a
too also.
grown-ass man now.
But that's what I'm saying too. Also, and that's what always felt to me. Like he handled the whole thing with Tua, Alabama perfectly. Once Oklahoma wasn't a Heisman race at that point, and then he comes to the NFL, gets drafted, he gets after Wentz leaves, and look, I am not an Eagle fan at all for obvious reasons, but I'm rooting for this kid heavily. So I'm glad he got his ring. So
this Super Bowl meant the most to me. The first one was great, but this one meant the most to me, and this is where he cued a little the melancholy music.
Sitcom music. Sitcom music.
And I'm gonna get a little emotional here for a second. So, a wise man once said, and Harry S. Truman was the first one to say. He said, "It is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit." So Harry Truman said that, but more importantly, it stuck with me from one of my coaching mentors and male mentors, Dan Laughlin. And he used to say this to me. He's like, it's amazing what you can achieve when nobody takes the credit. And what Philadelphia actually did was do this exact thing. And that's why it meant so much to me, because I wanted it to be a part of what the world's about. Everybody could talk about individual accomplishments and stats and all these things. And Jalen Hurts is standing up in front of everybody saying, I don't need to throw the ball. I'm not going to throw the ball. Yeah. It applies to everything. It applies to this team here. Yeah. None of us are asking to take credit or trying to be a star of the production or everybody. And look at what we have achieved here. The moneymaker working with the Kennel Club and the things we've achieved together, because nobody stands up saying, look what I did. Take it home. Do it in your marriage. It doesn't matter. You're building something together. So it meant a ton to me for the sake of humanity and the way I view things in life, for the Eagles to pull it off as a team and nobody to take the credit. It meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot.
Good finishing.
Congrats to the Eagles. Congrats to Noah. We're going to see you next week right here on PBKC Picks. See you, Moneymaker.